The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Chopping up Dolly Vision's dreaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Chats on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, king of beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light. Chopping up Dolly Vision's dreaming real. True crime scene blast feels so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Chats on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, king of beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light.
What is up, my beautiful people? Welcome to Late Night Dolly Vision. Okay, tonight we are talking about the Idaho 4 Bryan Koherger, new things breaking in this case. And let me tell you, it is mind blowing. Okay, you know, for the longest time we were talking about Bethany and Dylan, and what did they know? How much did they know what was going on that fateful night that 4 college students were murdered in that home? How much did they know? Were they aware of what was going on? Well, now we know that they were. Okay, not only were they aware of what was going on, but they were communicating. Let me get this out of the way here. Little setup error here. They knew what was going on in the situation. Okay, they were texting back and forth why this was going on, but never reached out for help to help their roommates. Okay, this is absolutely insane. But first, if you're tuning in, you're just tuning in, make sure you leave your DNA on that like button somewhere. It's somewhere down there. I don't know. It's there somewhere. And make sure if you're brand new, you ring that bell for notifications, and feel free, of course, to share my ugly face on any social media platform that you choose. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad you liked the setup. It was a little out of place right there. The mic stand was. But now that the mic is out my face, we're good to go. So like I said, you know, we for the longest time were really suspicious of Dylan and Bethany and why it took them 8 hours to call the police. Okay. Now, a lot of their text messages between the two of them are coming out. There's some new DNA evidence that is coming out. The 911 call is coming out, transcripts of it. And we're going to go over a little bit of that stuff here tonight. And then I'm going to take some calls from you guys, and I want to hear what you think in this whole situation. Now, me, myself, I still think Koherger is guilty. And a lot of people are starting to say this man is innocent. he's been framed and stuff. And I think that's a little too premature. Yes, there is some weird things that went on in that house. And like I said, we're going to discuss those things. But let me go ahead and share this screen with you guys real quick. Share screen. All right, let's jump into this, and let me go over here to this screen here. Bam. All right, this should be good right here. Let's go to this one. All right, so this right here is a video that came out today on Court TV. It goes over a little bit of the new DNA evidence in the Bryan Koherger case, and then of course we will get into the transcripts of the 911 call. And then we will jump into the text messages that Bethany and Dylan were sharing between themselves. Don't forget your warnings, Dolly. Thank you. Thank you. Dolly Vision's for entertainment purposes only. We talk news, rumors, gossip, speculation, theories, mixed with a little bit of comedy and chaos. So don't take nothing here as fact, people. Just my opinions. Also, everyone is innocent to proven guilty in a court of law. The callers' opinions tonight are theirs and theirs alone, not to reflect on the Dolly. And the biggest one of them all, don't try to be Dolly at home. It is dangerous. It is dangerous, okay? So let's jump right into this. Boom.
I'm Vinnie Politan. The subject of my investigation, the horrific, unprovoked, cold-blooded murders of 4 innocent students at the University of Idaho. It's the biggest true crime case in America and the biggest trial on our docket at Court TV. Here's the story. On November 13th, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students, Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan, were brutally stabbed to death in their off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho. The shocking crime left the college town in fear as authorities searched for the killer. After weeks of investigation, police arrested the suspect, a 28-year-old criminology PhD student at Washington State University. This suspect was linked to the crime through DNA evidence found on a knife sheath at the scene, cell phone records, and surveillance footage of his white Hyundai Elantra near the victim's home. Prosecutors believe the suspect planned the attack, although the motive remains unclear. He's been charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and burglary and maintains his innocence. Both sides now are preparing for the trial, and more information is being made public about the evidence and circumstances surrounding this tragedy. Now, one thing that you know about this case through the years, as we've been covering it and other people have been covering it as well, so a lot of the information coming out is very limited about the evidence in the case. We got some early on with the arrest warrant, but since then, you know, we've gotten little pieces from court hearings, and then when either of the parties file motions, sometimes there's information in there that's new information. Well, right now, we've got some of that new information, and this comes from a
Ted Bundy also reminds me, Bryan Koherger also reminds me of Ted Bundy. I think it's the crazy eyes does it, right? Like it's his look. And, you know, listen, if you was innocent of murdering 4 people, could you just sit there and be so calm, right? I'd be screaming I didn't do it, you know, things like that. We got 140 likes. We got 300 people in the room. If you're coming in late night, guys, make sure you ring the doorbell as you come in, hit that like button. And if you're super cool, listen, you got to be super cool. Share it on Facebook or in a true crime Facebook group. Always helps us out, brings new people in. But thank you guys, all my late night people that are here with me. And, you know, also more stuff came out. It ain't just the DNA evidence. It's the 911 call. Well, transcripts of the 911 call. And also the messages between Dylan and Bethany, which to me is the shocker. Okay. And all of this, the rest of it, yeah, we kind of knew that, right? But what was going on in that house between the 2 roommates? completely mind blowing that they did not reach out and help. They 100% knew there was an attacker in that house and did nothing to help their roommates. Not only did they not do nothing, they didn't call for the paramedics. What if one of those people could have been saved? One of the four, and Bethany and Dylan let those people die. I mean, it is unreal. Listen, with friends like this, you do not need enemies. When I was young coming up, me and my friends, there was nobody left behind, right? We stuck together. We did everything together. We looked out for each other. We live in a generation now where these young people are not even looking out for each other. It is, how could you live with yourself? I don't know. I don't know how they could. Like, that would eat me alive inside if I just let my friends die and did nothing about it. Never tried to reach out to the authorities, never tried to call the paramedics. They knew somebody was in the house. They knew it was an intruder. They were trying to call the other roommates and they wasn't answering, but they didn't know nothing was wrong and they didn't call to the next day. Get the hell out of here. I call BS. Listen, a lot of people are wondering why they would do this. And Dolly will tell you from the beginning, because I think I'm a little bit psychic, that they had drugs in that house. Is the reason they were scared of going to jail, is the reason they didn't reach out to the authorities. They actually, I believe, and this is my opinion, that they got rid of whatever they had in that house and then called the authorities. You got to remember that this is a college. Young people like to party and do these, let's just say, exotic drugs. You know, your rave drugs. I'll just say that. I won't name them. But you know them drugs, them kids like to dance and have, you know, I'm thinking it's something like that, or a little bit of Colombian Bam Bam, or something was in that house that would have caught these kids felony charges, and they decided, hey, we're going to get rid of this before we try to reach out and help anybody. But here's the thing. If you knew your friends were in danger and they were in their hurt, and you never went to check on them, and you never reached out to the paramedics or the police, you might as well have been an accessory to the murder, is the way I look at it.
Defense filing, right? So it's the suspect's attorneys who are filing this and making this information.
And thank you, Christy Ford. One of them said they thought it was a dream. No, they knew exactly what was going on. And you'll see that in the text messages just in a few minutes when we get to those. They knew what was going on. They knew somebody was in the house wearing a mask, like a ski mask. One roommate told the other one to run down to the basement. You know, they knew something was going on 100%, and they were both awake for it and did nothing to help their friends. Bethany and Dylan, how can you live with yourself? Oh my God, right? It's just unbelievable.
Now public because they're looking for some relief. It's a motion to eliminate. They're trying to limit some of the evidence coming in. In grand jury testimony, Jade Miller testified as to the results of testing done on item Q13.1, a swab of the left fingernail clippings from Madison Mogen, one of the victims in this case. The data consisted of a 3-person mixture.
Y'all heard that, right? 3 people mixture under her fingernails. Now, these people unidentified, right? Was Koherger there alone? For the longest time, people have been thinking that he's had somebody with him, okay? Now, you have DNA, you have multiple blood stains, right? In the house, multiple DNA taken from different male subjects, right? Some not to have been identified yet. You got DNA that's coming up from under her fingernails from multiple people, unless, of course, now I hate to be graphic, that she was scratching somebody, you know, like maybe not in a fight, but maybe sexually, okay, like was, you know, getting it on, and she may have some human DNA under her fingernails, right? But this story, when you think it can't get any stranger or any crazier, it absolutely does. It absolutely does.
in the fingernails of Maddie. 3-person mixture. So now we've got DNA from different sources, which brings us to the first question in our investigation. And it's all about this DNA. What does this DNA prove? What does it show? What does it demonstrate? Got to get to the bottom of this. Joining me, former homicide detective, host of The Interview Room with Chris McDonough. Chris McDonough is with us, and laboratory director for Pure Gold Forensics. She has more than 20 years of experience in DNA analysis, forensic DNA expert. Joining us from a lab where she works, Susanna Ryan. Great to have you both here. Susanna, I want to begin with you.
Now, if you remember, guys, for the 420 that's in here with me, in the beginning of this, they said some of them were ripping wounds, okay, and some of them appear to be stab wounds. So there was multiple types of wounds on the girls, and all of them. So some people say, you know, there's like stab wounds and real big open gashes that some people even described it looked like it could have been done with a crowbar, okay, or like a tire iron. Like rips and like open wounds that are not quite the same as a straight knife, but they're saying since the K-bar has the serrated part that maybe it's all from the same weapon. But if you remember in the very beginning when they reported the crime, that the wounds looked like they came from multiple weapons.
3-person mixture. What does that mean? What are the challenges? What are the limitations? What can you get when you have a sample that is a 3-person mixture?
A lot of that's going to depend upon the quality of the mixture. So it sounds like, you know, we have Madison's DNA, which is not surprising, and then at least 2 other contributors. Now, looking at this motion, the fact that multiple individuals were listed as sort of inconclusive tells me there's probably not a whole lot of data available for comparison. So it's probably a low-level mixture. Now, that could mean that the DNA arrived just through casual contact. As a person goes about their day, they can pick up DNA under their fingernails or on their fingernails, or it could mean something more.
I want to go to more information that we have from this motion, which I think will explain a little bit here. The data from that sample was, and then they redact the word as to the suspect, the accused killer. Miller testified that the redacted word there, we think this is the redacted word, inconclusive, right? So they say in the next sentence that Miller testified that inconclusive means that an analyst is blank, again, redacted. I'm taking from that the redacted word may very well be inconclusive. Miller went on to explain that the likelihood ratio for the suspect, and then that's redacted. The suspect's inconclusive LR likelihood ratio is similar to almost every other person for whom an LR was generated, and focusing on his inconclusive likelihood ratio would mislead the jury in that it applies that LR means that the suspect's DNA might be present in the sample. More importantly, the suspect has disclosed that through further independent lab testing, he is eliminated as a contributor to item 13.1. Okay, Suzanne, a couple more questions to you, then I want to get to Chris. So,
you know, that's the thing. If the DNA didn't come back where they can tell whose DNA it is, you got multiple people's DNA. You have text messages between the roommates that are awake while this is happening and doing nothing about it. You cannot explain in a million years how you can see a masked man be scared, you know, because we all thought Dylan went to sleep, right? That she was under the influence. She thought she seen somebody. She froze. But no, she was texting Bethany all the way through this, all the way until he was gone. And they never came out the room, never go check on the roommates. And then, you know, of course, a 911 call comes from somebody else about a person that has fainted. Well, they didn't faint when they seen this. And I believe this crime scene has been contaminated. And not only that, but they tore the house down So the jury can't go in there and hear what the roommates could hear, right? That the school, the University of Idaho, didn't like it there because it's not good for people enrolling in college. Do you want to go to the college that everybody's murdered at and they got the murder house sitting there? So the college, this property was given to the college after the murders happened from the owner. Give it to the college, and the college wanted the house gone. And to me, that house is one of the biggest pieces of evidence in the whole case. Why get rid of it so quick? Because they knew the next year college was coming up and they didn't want that house there because people were going to the house. It became like a tourist attraction. You know, I mean, crazy as that sounds, people are into crime scenes, murder houses, psychics and private investigators and YouTubers show up at these places. And I think it made the college look bad. And from the beginning, there was a whole bunch of people that were in danger. All these college girls were in danger. And the police came out and said, do y'all remember this? That it was an isolated attack, and it was an attack on the house. Not the people in the house, but just the house. And there was no danger to the rest of the community. But yet, we got a murderer that would come in your house with a K-bar knife and stab 4 people to death, but yet nobody else is in danger. The police in Idaho completely lied to the public. I mean, they did a good job making an arrest, don't get me wrong, but they came out and just completely lied. They said both the roommates were in the basement. They were both asleep. And then later on, we found out that Dylan was on the second floor, right? She was on the second floor. She was, you know, she did go to the basement. We learned that now that she went to the basement, but that's only because they were texting back and forth, and Bethany told her to run to the basement. So not only did Dylan know, but Bethany also knew that something was going on in that house and did nothing to help. Okay. There is something strange going on in this case. I don't know exactly what, but like I said, this is one of the biggest cases in the country. And you know, Dolly is going to be there in September to cover this live from Idaho, right? So I'm going to be in Boise. We're making a trip. We're flying across the damn country to bring you live coverage from the actual trial. So if you're just tuning in, make sure you like the video, okay? Because then I know you guys want that live coverage. I know to go out there. If nobody's interested, then why should I fly across the country? So if you're interested in this case and you want to see Dolly in Idaho covering this live, make sure y'all give this video a like, because this case goes on at the same time that I'm going down to Florida, right, for Stephen Stearns. It happens around the same time as CrimeCon. And so I'm going to be jumping all around the country in September. I'm going to be a little bit of everywhere. Yes, please. I finally made it. Thank you, guys. And then when you like the video as you come in, just shout out where you're watching from so I can see where my beautiful people are at tonight, all my late night heads. Now, listen, I shouldn't have to tell you late night people. Y'all should already know to like the video. Who else is hanging out with you late night, bringing you some awesome true crime? Got it? Okay. So go ahead, hit that like button for me. Show some love. It's all love here late night, right? I know my late night people are the good people. They're my diehards.
So the LR, the likelihood ratio, what is that? What's the significance of that?
That is the way that we do statistics currently. And it is basically a comparison of 2 mutually exclusive hypotheses. So one hypothesis would be what we call the prosecutor's hypothesis, which typically is that the person's included in the mixture. And that is compared to the defense hypothesis, which typically is that person is not in the mixture. And the likelihood ratio tells you which of those hypotheses is more likely. So in this case, when we have what they're calling an inconclusive range, they're saying, I can't tell you whether this person is included or excluded. However, I think one of the issues that the defense has with this is that there are recommendations, sort of the scientific working group on DNA analysis methods. They've come up with a number of recommendations. And basically they say no matter what the likelihood ratio is, whether it's, a small number in support or a small number supporting exclusion, you should still report that number. Instead, this laboratory apparently has a pretty wide range of inconclusive.
So make this make sense to me. Now they're saying that the suspect, the accused, has disclosed that through further independent lab testing, he is eliminated as a contributor. How could a different test now have seemingly a different result that actually?
Okay, this says mods post Dolly's GoFundMe link. It's Give Send Go, and it is what we use to travel to go to these cases. So my mods will post that for you. If you want to donate, make sure you let me know you donate it. Just throw stop signs in the chat to that, and I will make sure I thank you, because it's not like a super chat. It don't pop up on the screen. But if you donate to our Give Send Go, which helps us travel the country and cover these cases live for you. The last one we went to cover live for you was Megan Boswell, and she got her a good 40 years in prison. She won't be eligible for parole till she's 68 years old. And we want to be there to bring you Kohlberger trial live, like the way we do it. Stream it, give you the insight, be in the courtroom, let you know the scoop, that type of stuff. So every donation to that helps out a lot, okay? And you guys can make it happen.
Eliminates his as a contributor. Is this just an interpretation of results, or is there different testing that could have been done? How could that be?
I think that probably the independent lab retested the sample, and perhaps they were able to get a little bit more DNA from the sample. Perhaps their guidelines allow for them to eliminate a person at a certain less than 1 likelihood ratio versus this lab. So this independent lab may have done some additional testing, concentrated the sample, done something to be able to get a little bit better of a result where they can say he's excluded, instead of the Idaho laboratory, which they're saying inconclusive, but reading the motion, it probably should properly be said as support for exclusion. They probably were in a less than 1 likelihood ratio level, which is actually support for exclusion.
Chris McDonough, let me ask you.
Okay, let me answer your question real quick, Kelly. Do I think Kohlberger is guilty or innocent? Now, listen, I lean towards guilty, right? Because he reminds me of Ted Bundy. He just looks guilty. As far as the evidence, the touch DNA, him having no alibi, he was stargazing, I would have to say that Kohlberger, I believe, is the killer. Did he act alone? When he was arrested, he said some things like, was there anybody else arrested? For the longest time, we've been believing there may have been somebody that helped him. There's a lot of unanswered questions, like why didn't Brittany and Dylan do the right thing? And another thing, where was the DNA? Why wasn't there no DNA in his car? Why was there no DNA at his apartment? And some people would say, he's a criminology student. He covered up. He got rid of the clothes and the knife and all this stuff, but he didn't have no blood in his car, none in his trunk, none in his house, none at his mom and daddy's house in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of evidence missing, I believe, right now. And then you had people that went in to the house that contaminated the crime scene, right? Remember the footprint they found in the beginning? They found it under luminol, and still to this day, nobody knows whose footprint that was. It was a different size than Bryan Koherger's, and it was right at Dylan's door. Now, I ain't his defense attorney. He's stating that whatever he's stating, but if I was his defense attorney, I would be blaming Dylan and Bethany for the murders of these people. I would say somehow they got a hold of my knife sheath, they planted it there, and they committed these crimes. They never called the police. They never tried to help their roommates. And that would be what I would run with. Okay, because then there's reasonable doubt. Yes, they were in the house. There's no blood trail leading out of the house. So how do we know whoever did this didn't clean up in the house? okay, in the bathroom, cleaned up in the house, and that's why there's no trail leaving this house. But it still don't explain the crazy eyes of Bryan Koherger, which it ain't against the law to have crazy eyes, right? It no alibi, the touch DNA, right? Which DNA, believe it or not, you can fight DNA pretty good in court. O.J. Simpson's lawyer talked about this, touch DNA, and labs make mistakes. They give you a sample to go off of. Every lab has made multiple mistakes in DNA cases. Is you have to pull up the lab and bring out all the mistakes they made so you can show the jury that, hey, they could have made a mistake. They've made mistakes in the past. And then once you take out the DNA, you got no eyewitnesses because, you had his face covered. You have no other DNA evidence. You can't really place him at the scene. He's guilty. I believe he's guilty, to make a long story short.
So what does this DNA prove?
Vinny, obviously DNA evidence would put somebody at a crime scene. However, when there is an analysis like this that comes back, inconclusive, it means the results aren't necessarily clear cut. So from an investigative side, that could be from a couple of reasons. Like a sample was too small, maybe it was, degraded, maybe it was mixed up with other DNA, like in this case. So you couldn't get a solid match. So basically, it's a shrug of the shoulders from the lab. And so,
yeah, but the thing about placing his car there, guys, is that car they sold like in that area. There's over 100,000 white Hyundai Elantras. Remember when they were looking for them through the DMV records? There was over 100,000 white Honda Elantras. That's a very popular car, right? Hyundai, right? And not only that, but there's a ton of white cars. So to place his car, there's no real eyewitness to place him. You can place a white car there, but how many white cars are there? There's hundreds of thousands of white cars in Idaho. So that's where it gets a little tricky. I think the most damaging thing to him is he has no alibi. He didn't say he was at home. He said he was out at that time of night, but he was out stargazing. Now, whoever would buy that shit, it's beyond me, but that's what he said.
So as an investigator, you have to take that and say, okay, well, then we have to put that over here in the exclusionary column until we get some additional definitive evidence. And that's what they did by revealing it to the defense.
So Susanna, the next question is, okay, if let's say he's excluded or however we want to term it, right? It's interesting to hear it explained because a jury's going to have to understand this.
Well, they ping this phone, but the phone can ping within 10 miles, right? There's a 10-mile radius. They know he was within 10 miles of the house. 10 miles is a lot, okay? You could be on the other side of town almost at 10 miles, so that don't mean he was right by their houses. And they're coming back now saying that he never connected to the Wi-Fi, right? His phone did ping in that area, but that area is a 10-mile radius. Okay, so they don't really have him at the crime scene. Really, the only thing that is super damaging against him is the touch DNA on the knife sheath. And plus, like I said, he has no alibi. That would never look good in front of a jury. Cell phone pings a 3-mile radius here. Well, that ain't the case where he's at. It's 10 miles. So it's strange. And then you got to explain to a jury why Bethany and Dylan seen a killer but did nothing about it. Right? That is what's going to help him. Okay, there's some things that hurt him, but there's also some things that are going to help him, and that is the behavior of Dylan and Bethany and how they didn't show up for their friends. They didn't say anything after their friends were murdered. From my understanding, they didn't show up to the funeral. I think they showed up and left or something like that. They got like tattoos and went on about their lives. It's like I don't know. It seems bizarre, especially after you see their text messages.
Is there a way to take those the two samples that aren't her and to determine any information about the source of it, whether it's gender, race, or identity?
You may be able to tell gender. So there are a couple of different markers that we look at that are indicative of males. So they're specific to the male. So we know, obviously we have Maddie, a female. If any of those other markers that are specific to a male pop up, then they could say there's at least one male present. But that would be about it. We don't use the DNA that we do in the forensic lab to do.
Glam Geek, we're going to go over we're going to go over the text messages next, and then we're going to go over the 911 call. Okay. I have the text messages. We're going to pull up Plunder's video on the 911 call and the transcripts. So we're going to go over a little bit of all that tonight, and then I'm going to open the phone lines. Okay. So I just basically wanted to get through this part to where they talk about, there's DNA underneath her nails, but they really can't tell who that DNA belongs to. Now, these are the text messages.
Any sort of,
Let me pull them up real fast for you guys. All right, right here. And me and PJ were talking about this earlier, is they seem a little out of order, but it says right here, DM to BF. Okay, so we know who DM is. Brittany is the BF. No one is answering. DM to BF. I'm really confused right now. DM to goncalves, Kaylee. So she sends her a message, and then she writes another message, DM to goncalves. What's going on? BF to DM. Yeah, dude, what the F? Brittany to DM. Xana was wearing all black. All right, this is where it gets strange. Xana was wearing all black. DM to BF. I'm freaking out right now. DM to BF. No, it's like a ski mask almost. BF to DM. Shut the F up is what that stands for. STUFU. Right? Shut the F up. BF to DM. Actually, DM to BF. Like he had something over forehead, little, it says over his forehead and a little and mouth. DM to BF. BF, I'm not kidding. Oh, am so freaked out. BF to DM. So am I. DM to BF. My phone is going to die. F. Okay. And then BF to DM. Come to my room. Run down here. Okay. So let me blow this up on the screen for you guys so I can see it a little bit better if you're tuning in. So they knew. You can clearly see by their messages that they knew somebody was in the house. They knew their roommates were in trouble. They knew they wasn't answering the phones. They were scared. They went downstairs, and you could say, well, Bethany's DM's phone was dead. Well, Bethany's won't, right? They let their friends, but if they didn't have something to do with it, they basically let their friends possibly die. If they would have reached out to the paramedics, maybe one of these people could have lived. So to me, this is just mind blowing. And then of course you get into the strange stuff about the 911 call. So you can say, well, she panicked and she froze. Well, no, she didn't. She was texting Bethany. She was texting her and she didn't freeze. And they did nothing to help their friends. I mean, I knew in the beginning of this, I said, look, something strange. I was like, the only reason I really want to attend this case because I want to see what Bethany and Dylan had to say, especially Dylan, because she confronted allegedly Bryan Koherger. Okay. She allegedly confronted him, seen him with the mask, seen him cover his face, dressed in all black. But in her text message, it says Xana was wearing all black. So now Xana don't have bushy eyebrows. She's a chick. She plucks her eyebrows. The defense will use that. I think so too, not. I think so too. And I'm going to go over these messages one more time for anybody that's just tuning in with us. Okay. And this is from 4:22 to 4:24 in the morning. Okay. DM and BF sent following text messages. DM to BF, no one is answering. Now, like I said, I think there's some more to this, but this is what's been released. DM to BF, I'm really confused right now. DM to Goncalves says Kaylee. DM to Goncalves says what's going on. BF to DM, yeah, dude, what the F? BF to DM, Xana was wearing all black. DM to BF, I'm freaking out right now. DM to BF, no, it's a little ski mask almost. BF to DM, S, shut the F up. Like, you know, it's, I think she was saying that sarcastically, like you're kidding, right? Like, shut the F up, like you're kidding, right? I think that's basically how that was worded. And then it says BF to DM, actually. Like, so whoever it was wearing some type of ski mask. DM to BF, like he had something over his forehead and mouth. All right, that's just how they wrote it. That's what it says. BF, I'm not kidding. Oh, am so freaked out. All right. DM to BF to DM, so am I. DM to BF, my phone is going to die. F. Okay. The big old, word. BF to DM, come to my room. BF to DM, run. BF to DM, down here. So they knew it was a situation where they needed to run to the room. They knew something was going on. They seen a assailant in the house, and they did absolutely nothing. Can you imagine? I mean, did nothing to help their roommates whatsoever. Just left them basically to die. And there's a lot of reasons why something like this would happen, right? Why? And I've asked myself this a million times. And even in the beginning, if you go way back to when this happened in 2022, I said there was drugs in that house. And I still believe there was drugs in this house. And a lot of people are like, well, they're smart college girls that, they ain't doing all these drugs. And, well, they're going out to the club and partying. And I hate to tell you, show me a 20-some-year-old college student that ain't partying, drinking, smoking, doing some type of, I would say there's more people doing it, partying, and than there ain't. Okay. Listen, I went to college. Even when I went to college older, them young kids were getting down, and young kids still to this minute get down. Look at all these rave kids and these, these party kids and club kids. They know where to get all the stuff at. Everybody knows that. So I believe that somebody in that house was paying for their lifestyle with moving drugs. Okay. Now, I don't think it has nothing, the killings have anything to do with drugs. I think that there was just drugs in that house, and they decided, well, instead of destroying our futures, right? Because you get caught with these hard drugs, they're going to kick you out of college. You're going to go to jail. You're never going to be able to get a good job, because you're going to be a felon. And they decided not to call the police, which is unbelievable. Right, listen, I don't care what I got in my house. I could have something that's going to put me in jail. You come in here and murder my friends, I'm calling the police. I'll take the charge, okay? I'll take the jail time. I'm going to try to save the people that I love, no matter what. Okay. Put me in jail, but I want, my friends to live. And apparently, shocking as it is, they didn't see things the same way. Okay. They didn't see things the same way. Now we're going to jump over here and shout outs to Plunder for this video, putting out the 911 transcripts. Okay. So we're going to jump over to Plunder's video. We're going to watch a little bit of that so you can understand what went on in this 911 call. Now you know they were awake. Now you know they were text messaging. Just like I said, so many people tried to defend Dylan that she was in shock. Dolly, you wouldn't know. You don't know what you would do. Yeah, the hell I do. I'm calling the police. I'm scared of everything, right? You break in my house, I'm calling the police, and I'm a man. You think a woman would be 5 times as scared as me and would definitely reach out to the police, right? That's the first thing they should have done, but they didn't, right? A lot of people thought she was so intoxicated that she passed out and all these things. Not true. Not true. You see right now that they were awake. They were communicating. They were sending text messages to the roommates that were in there bleeding to death, never tried to reach out for help. And you never know. They could have saved one of these. They could have saved one of them, maybe. Now, I ain't saying that's the case. They could have called 911 and the paramedics, and everybody still died, right? But you have better odds when you reach out for help, right? So let's jump over here to Plunder's video. Shout outs to Plunder. Make sure if you're not subbed up, sub her up. I'm sure everybody here is subbed to Plunder. She's a great channel.
Burger. There's the transcript of the 911 call made and text messages exchanged between the surviving roommates. Let's take a look at both. Court documents say that someone by the initials of HJ located the unresponsive body of Xana Kernodle and informed Bethany and Dylan to call 911. The surviving roommates. Someone named EA was present at the time. The
See how many people were there? So, I mean, not only did they not call the paramedics, they didn't call the police, but they called other people there first. Okay? I don't believe they didn't know. I think they knew that their roommates were deceased and they got other people to go in there. This is where it gets strange. Passing the phone around. Yeah, like this is odd, guys. I mean, really odd.
Documents talk about how the people there perceived what was happening. Here's the transcript. 911, location of your emergency. Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what. What is the address of the emergency? 1122. No, don't. What is the rest of the address? Oh, Kings Road. Okay. And is that a house or an apartment? It's a house. Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right? I'll talk to you guys. We live at the right, so we're next to them. I need someone to repeat the address for verification. The address, 1122 King Road. And what's the phone number that you're calling from? This answer was redacted. What's your phone number? What's the rest? Okay, and tell me exactly what's going on. One of the roommates who's passed out and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up. No, we saw, okay. Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah, hi.
Okay. Does that make, so far, before we get too far into this, does that make any sense? Does it make any sense? One of the roommates passed out. She was drunk last night. She's seen somebody in the house, right? Something's going on in the house, but they don't know what. Okay. And they're like, oh, like nonchalant-ish. Like, it makes no sense, guys. No, this is unbelievable.
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone. Stop passing it around. Can I just tell you what happened, pretty much? What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now? I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m. Okay, I need to know what's going on right now. If someone is passed out, can you find that out? Yeah, I'll come. Come on. We gotta go check. But we have to. Is she passed out? She's passed out. What's wrong? Dispatching Moscow Law Ambulance for she's not waking up. Unconsciousness. 11.
Now, guys, there was so much blood. It was literally leaking out the house. Okay. Leaking out the house.
22 King Road. 70 is en route. Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way. Okay, maybe. Unintelligible. 1122 King Road. All ambulance respond for unconsciousness. 1122 King Road. I copy. Unintelligible. 58. Multiple RPs. That means reporting parties. On the phone advised saying, the roommate on scene is passed out and not waking up. Believe she got drunk last night and unintelligible about a male being in the room with them. Unintelligible being around. That one. I copy about 20-year-old female unconscious trying to get further. Copy. Yeah, it's Evan. Okay. And how old is she? She's 20. 20, you said? Yes, 20. Here, do you want to talk to him? Okay. Hello? Okay. I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people. Okay, sorry. They just gave me the phone. Is she breathing? Hello? Is she breathing? No, okay. Unintelligible. En route. Bethany. Or Dylan, I need you to talking to them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them. Okay, hello, okay, I have already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. Okay, if there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it. Units responding RPs advising. Unintelligible. The patient is not conscious, not breathing, unintelligible. Okay, if there is a defibrillator available.
You telling me nobody's seen blood? This is a brutal crime scene where 4 people were brutally stabbed with a K-bar knife and they didn't see any blood. This is bullshit, is what this is.
Send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it. We don't have one. Unconscious, not breathing. Do you have a defibrillator? Yep. Yes, we have one. But are you talking to the officer? Yes. Okay. I'm gonna let you go since he's there with you and can help you. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Okay. Moscow 46 out. Copy. I think we have a homicide. Moscow Engine 20 is en route. 1370, unintelligible, 107. I relate it. So that was the 911 call with the young people on scene declaring kernodle unresponsive to dispatcher Carolina Calvin, thinking kernodle was passed out and not waking up. Okay.
Passed out, not waking up, but there's blood everywhere. There's blood leaking through the walls of the house. You knew blood smell by the age of 11, Ducky says. Listen, there's no way you could go in a house with 4 people brutally murdered. The blood soaking through the bed. You got Ethan, you got Xana laid there on the floor. Ethan was on the floor. You have Xana dead in the room, stabbed, both of them stabbed to death. You go upstairs, how would they think they're unconscious? Right? Wasn't the sneaker print in blood? It was in some type of bodily fluid. They didn't say specify blood. It could have been urine they stepped in. That will glow the same as blood. Okay, so if you step in urine, and you know when you die, you defecate yourself, your bowels release. So somebody could have stepped in urine, somebody could have stepped in blood and tracked it through the house. But it's weird because there's no blood trail. And damn, that's really wrong, Dolly. Hey, listen, they did nothing to help them, guys. Nothing. They were talking in the house. They didn't reach out for help. You see the phone call, how the phone call went. They were handing the phone off to people Like they had called those people to get there. They went and got these people. These people didn't just show up at the house. They had a reason to be there because these girls went and got them. But yet why go get them? You know somebody's in the house. Why wouldn't you have called the police? Why would you have waited to the next day? No blood trail, no blood evidence in his car. Yeah, this is where it gets like, I know everybody thinks Bryan Koherger is guilty because of the touch DNA and he has no alibi, right? What does this say? He was stargazing. And what if the DNA evidence is wrong? What if the lab has made a mistake? Then you have nothing on Bryan Koherger, and you have these roommates that are super suspicious that there's no blood trail leaving the house. You got to remember, it was snowing. A drop of blood is going to be red as shit in the white snow, right? You would see a blood trail. You telling me he killed all these people and they're bleeding so bad that it's coming through the walls of the house, but he walked out of there without one blood drop on him, didn't leave one fingerprint, not one blood smear, not nothing. I mean, I don't know. It just seems super, super odd.
Okay, so now we know why this call was described as being for someone unresponsive. It is strange to some people reading this transcript that the callers didn't immediately see any blood or describe the scene as such immediately. The declarations were made immediately after HJ discovered Kernodle's body. Court documents say that heaving, breathing, and crying that can be heard throughout the call, so we'll have to wait for the actual audio to hear that. Now, for the text messages.
I
The
went over
court
these with you.
documents say that starting on November 13th, 2022, at 2:10 a.m., Dylan sends a text message to E.G., the Uber driver, to inquire if he is driving. This text message exchange isn't hearsay, and it won't be offered for the truth of the matter, that is, his driving status. Instead, it would be offered to show a timeline for the night. That is, Dylan was awake and texting at 2:10 a.m. From 4:19 a.m. to 4:21 a.m., Dylan attempts to call Bethany, Xana, Kaylee, Madison, and all calls unanswered. From 4:22 a.m. to 4:24 a.m., Dylan and Bethany sent the following text messages. Dylan to Bethany, no one is answering. I'm really confused right now. Dylan to Kaylee, Kaylee, what's going on? Bethany to Dylan, you dude, WTF? Xana was wearing all black. Dylan to Bethany, I'm freaking out right now. No, it's like ski mask almost. Bethany to Dylan, STFU. Actually, Dylan to Bethany, like he had something over his forehead a little in mouth. I'm not kidding, I am so freaked out. Bethany, so am I. Dylan, my phone is going to die. Frick, Bethany. Come to my room, run, down here. Then, at 4:24 a.m., Dylan called Ethan Chapin and the call went unanswered. Dylan and Bethany continue to text. At 4:24 a.m., Dylan texts Bethany, I'm scared though, and Bethany responds at 4:25, yeah, I know, but it's better than being alone. So I'm guessing Dylan was afraid at first to run down to Bethany's room. It is strange that they didn't call or text 911 at this point, but I'm not blaming or shaming the survivors in any way.
Okay, well, Plunder, you're a really nice person, and Dolly is, okay? Dolly is. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Oh my God. You know, we don't know at the point how long it took any of these 4 college students to die. So every minute mattered. Okay. Most likely they were fatal wounds, but you never know. And they did nothing. They didn't try to help. They didn't go check on them. And then the following day, and I'm not even talking early in the morning. I'm talking later in the afternoon, noon. They finally say, well, she's drunk and it won't wake up. They didn't see all the blood. They seen a man in a black ski mask and but didn't do nothing? How the hell is that even possible? How the hell is that even possible? Now, let's open up the phone lines. I want to hear from you beautiful people about this tonight. Let me throw up the call-in number on the screen. This is bizarre. This is really, really bizarre. Like, I don't know if it's enough to make Kohlberger walk, but it's definitely, it don't look good. It does not look good at all. All right, the call-in number's on the screen. The call-in number's open. You guys hit me up. Tell me what y'all think about this whole situation with Bethany and Dylan. Why didn't they reach out to law enforcement? What kept them from doing anything? Like, it's just mind-blowing to me. I mean, damn, so odd. Like, they didn't attempt to save their lives or nothing. Dolly.
Hey, Dolly.
What's up, man?
Not much. Eating a little trail mix.
Oh, I hear you.
So, this is crazy, man. They were totally awake.
Yes.
They knew something bad was happening.
Yes.
They're totally freaking out, the two of them.
Yep.
Come down here and let's lock ourselves in here while whatever's going on that's loud and people screaming their last screams.
No, this is
And
after they.
even
This is
call
after.
911.
This is after
Huh?
they were screaming.
What do you mean? Oh, you're talking about the morning? The 911 call was after, but the text messages.
Yeah, the text messages were after they heard all this. Because you got to remember, she's
Right.
seen him, and she said that he was wearing a ski mask. So this is after the point that he done left. So these text messages
Right.
are happening after the time that Kohlberger has done left the house.
So how long does it take to do that to 4 people? With one of them probably fighting back a little.
Well, the
2
two,
minutes,
the
5
two,
minutes.
you know, the two upstairs probably didn't take long because they were asleep. They never seen it coming.
Right.
But there was defensive wounds, so at some point they woke up. And then downstairs, you know, Ethan put up a fight, so they had to have heard the whole thing. Dylan did, and then she did nothing. She did nothing.
Sounds like KP. I heard a thump, but I didn't go check it.
I didn't check. Yeah.
This is crazy, man. I mean, there's so much room for the defense here in this case.
I know.
You got a big problem here.
I think you got a huge
problem.
especially with the 911 call. And then you hear them say Xana was wearing all black.
What is that about?
But Xana's dead. You know?
Right. So they're saying Xana's wearing all black.
Mm-hmm.
How is that even in context with the conversation they were having?
Because I guess she was saying that the guy was wearing all black, but it didn't say that in the text messages. It just said Xana was wearing all black. I don't know the text. It seems like some of the text messages are missing.
Yeah, that's probably it. They're not releasing everything.
It don't flow. Like the conversation don't flow.
Right. So you got the whole house. It's a totally contaminated crime scene.
Absolutely.
By probably 15 kids,
Mm-hmm.
or all these frat boys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they call their sororities for anybody else. Hours upon hour goes by before they get the job they were called to do done, and then call 911.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, man. You're doing a good job.
All right, man. You be good.
All right, brother.
Peace.
Bye.
All right, let's open the phone line back up. And yeah, I mean, to me, there's big gaps in this, right? It looks like all the text messages are not there because the conversation didn't flow. We know they were awake. They did nothing to save them. They waited to the next day, not even early in the morning either. Dolly.
Hey, Dolly.
Hey.
It's Rita from Dexter.
Hey, Rita.
So, did you get, I just seen them text messages you showed, but I could have sworn I seen more text messages earlier. Because there's a message that was sent or said, and I want to say it was Dylan, and they said, I'm in a lot of trouble or I'm in trouble.
I haven't seen that.
I seen it, I think it was on JLR.
Oh, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. Magnolia's got a bunch of stuff. But I'm just saying this. They're walking around. They got all these people running in and out of the house. They got blood all over that house. And not one mention of that blood when they call. Not one mention. They're worried about, they're sitting there talking about her wearing clothes. They're talking about her being passed out. Now, I know for a fact, when they went up to her, they found blood. Now, it doesn't make a lick of sense that they're going to say, oh, she's passed out. Clearly, there's blood. And then the dispatcher had to continue to tell these guys to quit passing that phone around.
Yeah.
Like, what were they doing? That's just crazy to me. There is all kinds of stuff out there. Frat boys running from the house at certain amount of times. People running in and out of the house all night. They're up all night texting on the phone, telling her to run to the room, and it just doesn't, these girls are making themselves look guilty as hell.
Yeah, if you was that scared, why wouldn't you call 911?
Yeah, and those are your friends. These are people they seen every day. Now, I don't have a huge house here, but I got about 5 people in it. And by God, if I heard anything out of whack, I'm on the phone with the cops. I don't have that problem because I live in a little bitty nice small town where everybody gets along. It's a pretty good town. They sleep. This town sleeps.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I might be fortunate to live in this good area. I'm just saying anything can happen anywhere. But, bad things happen all over. But I'm telling you, Dolly, something is not right with these girls.
I know.
And
the only thing
I thought he was innocent since day one.
The only thing I can think of reason they wouldn't call the police is because there's something illegal in that house.
That's what I'm saying.
That
would be the only thing.
Yeah.
But
in trouble.
Yeah. But when the cops get there and there's murder trumps drugs in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying they won't get in trouble, but they're not going to prison for life for murder. They might get a slap on the hand for some drugs. Take their drugs, throw them away, give them a little talking to. They are college kids, and I know how cops are. They like to give them younger kids a break. They want them to finish in school. I'm just saying. I know a few cops. I've been around the block. I'm almost 50. I've seen a lot of crap.
Yeah, they might.
And I know cops. I know cops that'll give you a break.
Yeah, I mean, they may give you a break for a little bit of weed or some booze. They ain't gonna, if you got Molly and meth and Colombian Bamboo.
Yeah. And there is heavy rumors about that being a drug house. But there's also a heavy rumor going around. Now, I don't know how true this is, but this is going around. These murder, now they're laying it out like the 2 victims that they were really going for were the girls upstairs because their wounds were the most brutal. Now with Xana and Ethan, their wounds were bad. They were brutal, but they were not as bad as the wounds upstairs, from what I'm understanding. But what I'm saying is, at that frat party, there was a fight. They was at that frat party. They were all fighting with somebody over there. I don't know what it was over. And a bunch of those kids came back to that house. That's going all over the place.
I mean, in the beginning,
now, I don't know if you've seen that.
In the beginning, they said the wounds looked like they came from 2 different weapons because some of them look like stab wounds and some of them look like gouge wounds. So to me, if it's two weapons,
Yeah.
then maybe there's multiple assailants committing
Yeah.
crime.
Maybe, and this was what I was thinking about. Might be an unpopular thought, but I was thinking this here a while back. Maybe Xana and Ethan's killer is different than the girls upstairs. Maybe Bryan did kill the girls upstairs. Dylan seen him in the hall, but maybe their killers are from that frat party because they were in a fight over there at that frat party, and there was different weapons used. What I'm really disturbed about is we got DNA on a bloody glove outside, and Chris Madonna found that bloody glove, and he said himself it could have belonged to an investigator that had been in there working and had got blood in the glove.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was a glove, but that should have been ruled out because their DNA is all in CODIS. So I don't understand that, but they're saying it could have been that. The blood on the staircase and the railing is another one. And now there's 3 different people's DNA under her fingernail. She touched those people. Something happened. DNA I can't just walk by you and get your DNA under my nail.
Yeah.
And she could have been fighting. Like I said, we weren't there. I can't wait for the trial, but I'm beginning to wonder if he did it at all. I'm just being honest, because from day one, I thought there was something up with this case.
I mean, how do you explain his K-bar sheath being there?
I really, really believe that K-bar sheath was brought there somehow, some way, another way. I have a very bad feeling that we are not. I don't think we're going to get a guilty out of this. I think we're going to get. This is going to be another Karen Reed thing. This is going to be a hung jury. Because there are people that have been to the school of life that has been around the block that are going to be picked for that jury. And they're going to go in there and they're going to be like, They waited to call 911. There is too much suspect evidence here. And then on top of that, all they've got on Bryan technically is that chief. Mm-hmm. All that rest of that stuff is all circumstantial.
Yeah.
It's just my opinion. But like I said, I think that he's either going to be found completely not guilty because of all this other evidence that the defense is going to throw in there, or he's going to be found with a hung jury. There's going to be 2 or 3 people on that jury that's going to be like, I ain't buying it. That's just my opinion. I couldn't be on that jury.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah. All right, Rita, you be good.
All right. I'll keep watching you. All right. Bye, honey.
All right, peace. Dolly.
He's going to be found.
Oh, hi. My name is Jen, and I was calling about the.
Well, hey, Jen.
The roommate.
Yeah.
Hi.
What do you think about all this?
All right. Listen. First of all, the text messages when DM, which is Dylan, was texting Bethany. I guess that's her name.
Mm-hmm.
And they were okay. She seemed frightened. She wasn't frozen and all, like they were saying. And then all of a sudden, she says, well, come down to my room. Okay. That's the problem because she locked herself in the room because she was so frightened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she's going to just run out, not knowing if somebody's still in the house.
Well,
she was going to go out of her room.
Well, she should have knew he was gone
through the house.
Because remember, she said that she froze and he went past her and went out the back door. So she knew he was out the house.
Well, then there was one report saying sure if he ran out? I don't know. But anyway, still, what if, I don't know. I just can't, if I was there, I would say, okay, I am not leaving this room. I'm going to call 911. I mean, that's just normal, right? So then, but she goes out of her room, not knowing if anybody's still in there, okay? Or maybe there's more than one, yeah. Anyway, so she's running past, to go down those stairs, you have to be able to, I'm not sure if she was looking, but you would have to see, what's his name? The guy, Xana's boyfriend in that area.
Yeah.
Or blood or I mean, I don't know how they said that the curtain lights were on. You don't see nothing. She didn't look around, right? I guess. And then she goes downstairs and then they go to sleep. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense.
How do you go to sleep scared?
I don't know. It's crazy.
Right.
And then, of course, yeah.
And
neither one of them, they didn't call.
Neither one of them were smart enough to call the authorities or call for help or go check on them.
Well, they said because maybe they were underage drinking, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
To me,
buying
that's
that.
just too much.
Yeah, that seems a little strange. That
And just like you said, then they call these other people over, and then they say she's unconscious and all that blood everywhere. I mean,
yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
yeah, it makes no
And then,
zero
oh
sense.
yeah, and somebody said that the girl. This last thing, that somebody that was on the balcony where the camera was on the next house over.
Uh-huh.
That I saw this. I don't know if it's true, but okay. The girl says that she was out smoking on the balcony that morning, and that the people were gathered around just acting like nonchalant, smoking and passing something around. And they, she said it was like nothing was going on outside that house
Well, it sounds like
before
before
the people were called, the 911 people.
they're passing the
saying
phone
that.
around and not giving inconsistent statements.
It's weird.
It's odd. It's really
It
odd.
is odd.
And
You're the first one that I've heard that it makes any sense, that you get it about them saying, okay, they're girls passed out. Oh yeah. And yet they're not saying anything about the blood.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
I mean,
Doesn't make any
the
sense.
blood is leaking through the floor, coming out the house. There's that much blood.
They have to be stepping in it or something. I mean,
You know how much you got to
they
bleed
gotta
for
be.
the house to leak blood? The house was leaking blood.
Oh yeah, and then Xana was supposedly inside the room, so they didn't have to walk past Ethan to see this passed out person. I mean, really?
Yeah. That is
I don't
crazy
know.
to me.
Or maybe he was somewhere else, but I heard he was like in the doorway. But this is so weird.
Yeah, he was in the doorway on the ground. I mean,
and they didn't say nothing about him.
They didn't say nothing about him. So,
That's crazy.
Let me show this
I
picture
don't
real
know.
quick. I'm gonna pull this picture up, but this picture literally shows blood leaking out the house. And I mean, you know how much you have to bleed to have blood leak out the house? Literally, you can see it running down the foundation of the house.
Yes, yeah.
So,
and it's just like they're just gonna say she's passed out.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's just so weird. It's sus.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. So, let me share the screen, but you can see the blood rolling down out the house. That's how bad they were bleeding, but yet they didn't see none of this blood. You can see it from outside the house.
And they don't say anything.
The bed would have had to been soaked in it that the two girls were in, right? It would have had to been soaked in blood. And you know
well, I don't know if they went up there. They just said that Xana.
Yeah, even on the second floor, Ethan is a big man. He's going to bleed a lot.
Oh yeah, and
right?
And like they didn't say nothing about him.
And you got to remember they were drinking, so their blood is thin, so they're going to bleed a lot. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So, and there's no way. There's no way they didn't know. There's just no way.
Runs out of her room and runs down to the girls' room, and it's like, what? Why didn't they run out of the house? They have a whole different doorway. They're not that scared, right? They can't be, because
I'd have jumped out the damn window if I was that scared. I thought a killer was in the house. I'm jumping out the window. I'm not even opening it. I'm jumping through the glass and everything. I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. I don't know what they were doing, but I don't act like that. I jump right out the window.
Or go to a neighbor, right? Or just run to the neighbor.
Yeah, I'm jumping head first out the window. I don't know. I ain't even taking time to open it. We pick the glass out when I get done running.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
And then
I still don't think he's innocent.
She went and got an attorney.
What's the chance?
Why would she do what?
Maybe they framed him. They said, "Dude, this dude looks like a serial killer. We can blame him." You know, I don't
know.
I
really don't know all that.
Where did the knife come from? That's it. Could it have been planted?
See, that's what gets me. I don't know.
And they didn't really know him. They didn't really know him. And he said he's never been in that house. But could he have left another party? And they found it at a party.
Something about he had been riding around the house. Riding
but
there.
I mean, they say that
I don't know.
It within a 10-mile radius of the pings. They can't tell. It could be 10 miles away from the house. So,
Yeah,
I mean, he could have been right next to
true.
the house, but then again, he could have been 10 miles from the house. It's no way to tell. They're
But
just
he
gonna-
does look weird. Okay, I'm sorry.
he does, and he does have bushy eyebrows. So, but by the time he went to court, it looked like he had plucked them a little bit. So,
I don't know.
all right, look.
I'm not one to say yes or no, but it's just weird about this whole 911 thing, and the whole situation doesn't look good
All right,
for them.
you be good. I'll talk to you next time.
All right.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Peace. Dolly. Hello.
Howdy,
Yes.
it's Justin. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Not too bad. How about
Good. I
yourself?
want to talk about the Idaho 4 with you.
Go ahead. Let's do it.
So in my opinion, they got the right person.
Uh-huh.
The only reason that I wouldn't, that I would say that is because the DNA,
Yeah.
okay, on the sheath. So what they planted that? Because if it's not planted, they got the right guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I wasn't there. I'm not his co-defendant. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Right. But what I'm saying is, do you think that that's real DNA?
I mean, there could be mistakes in the lab. Labs make mistakes, you know, and it's very little DNA. It's not like a lot of DNA. So I don't know. Why ain't there any his blood or anything else? He commits his perfect crime, but he leaves his knife sheath with his fingerprint DNA on the knife. I mean, that's a little, you know, for somebody that commits the perfect crime where there's no blood in his car, there's no blood or hairs in his apartment, nothing that connects him to that crime other than that knife at the crime scene.
Okay, because you carry the knife in the sheath and you release the tab when you pull the knife out, right?
Yeah, but they're saying he had gloves on.
Well, then he didn't clean it good enough. Then he didn't wipe it down good enough before he used it.
Yeah, that would have had to be what it is, because this dude, even when he's not killing people, he wears rubber gloves. They said when he went shopping for a grocery store, he'd walk in with surgical gloves on. He's a germaphobe. And even when the police were watching him and he was tearing up trash and throwing it away in the neighbor's trash can, he was wearing surgical gloves. And here's the crazy thing. The trash he was throwing away in the trash can at the neighbors had nothing to do with the murders. He was throwing shit away in the neighbor's can for some reason.
So he had been doing that for a while, and just that's what he practiced. And he was trying to get away with one of the perfect crimes, and being a law student and all that. He really believed that he was smarter than everyone else. You can tell in the questionnaire that he released at Washington State University.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so he had been planning this for a while.
I think he was scared to be confronted, that somebody would fight. You know, I think that's why the questions were worded the way they were. You know, have you ever, you know, why committing a home invasion? Have you ever encountered somebody? Because I think he was a coward. I think he was a sissy.
Yeah. I mean, maybe in the beginning years of his life, but he definitely started getting more
tougher,
bolsterous, stronger in his mind and everything. You could see it with the body transformation. So like at that point, then he's putting out questionnaires so he can understand every aspect of it. So he's not caught off guard anywhere. Yeah, he was emboldened very much. He waited to as much as he could gain as much information and knowledge. And then he just went. I think there's a couple of times that he was over there and he couldn't pull the trigger quite yet. Cause that's why, you know, there's so much around the house.
Yeah. I mean, look at the car that was down the street that was broken into and the girl's panties were taken out the suitcase. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're right next door.
Yeah. I believe he was stalking the area. Like, I don't think he had a certain target. I believe it was a crime of opportunity.
Maybe, yeah, because it's just that would go along with that. There's no connection between them and the four that lost their life. Rest in peace to all four of those people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could be because, you know, that's all BS about the connection with Instagram and stuff. But but it could be that just that area that he was, that was the hunting ground area for him, right?
Yeah, the killing fields.
Yeah, so that shit's real for sure. But okay, so I want to say that because I do believe it's probably really him. But I do have one little discrepancy that I wonder about, and it's this: who cleaned up the footprint in front of Dylan's door that was later found with luminol?
I don't know, but maybe it was so light that you didn't see it until there was luminol placed on it. So maybe
and maybe it has nothing to do with that night,
or
like it's from a different time.
It could
frame, like a couple days before or something.
Whatever it had to be bodily fluid. So fluid from the body, either urine or blood.
Okay.
Because that's
well, I'm saying, could it be from an old party the previous weekend?
I mean, if somebody pissed on the floor and they walked through it.
Okay.
You know, it could only been two things that'll light up the luminol. It would have been urine or blood. And somebody could have cleaned it up. I'm not saying they didn't, but I'm saying it was found under the luminol and it didn't match Bryan Koherger. And I don't think they should have. I don't think they should have tore that house down. I think they should have held that house as evidence just in case they needed to go back in and check stuff.
Yeah, I mean, come on,
and then
really,
you got
why you tear it down?
You know, they found blood in the house too of an unknown male, another male.
Yeah, I did know that. But that's just because that's a party house though and stuff. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm trying to figure out if this footprint was just cleaned up from like they had a party and then they had a cleaning session.
Mm-hmm.
All the people in the house cleaned the house, right? And that's just something old, or is that within 24 hours or whatever? Is there any way to tell that?
I don't know.
Are they gonna say it's blood or urine at the trial?
I don't know what they're going to say about it. They haven't said anything about it so far. But I know this, that luminol and the Red Star that they use, because I learned about Red Star during the Harmony Montgomery case, is that it'll pick up blood from months. It could be months ago and it would still activate. So
well, that's the problem then. Then there's so much DNA in that house from everybody in that house that we got a major problem.
Oh yeah. I would agree. And letting people walk through the house while there was a crime scene. How do we know that footprint ain't from one of the kids that went in there that was on the phone with 911?
Yeah, and if it is all of that, then it goes back to they probably got the right guy then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel that I've seen the chat and stuff about these two girl survivors are barely growing. They're just coming into their life. They probably were scared, but you still doesn't excuse why you don't call 911 or something.
I know. I mean, in my mind, the only reason they would not call 911 is there's drugs in that house.
I agree, but also the lack of empathy amongst some young people. Mm-hmm. Like it's different. Like you said earlier, if it was you would have called 911, but the young people. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially college partying young people.
Yeah, it's like every man for themselves these days.
It's crazy. The people pulling the phones out instead of calling for help, they're recording it.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's a different era. It's a different era, and for all we know, they could have saved one of their roommates' lives.
Yeah. I mean, you never. Yeah, 12 hours later, you're definitely not going to save anyone's life. 9 hours later or whatever it was. So, okay, Dolly, I'll let you get going. Another call. I know a lot of people want to call in. Yeah, do a great job. Keep it up. And I can't wait to see you in Idaho for the trial.
Yep. All right, my man. You be good. Peace.
You too, sir. Peace.
So they called the police almost 7 hours later. 8 hours. 7-8 hours later. Okay. It's unbelievable. I mean, to me, there's no excuse for it. This should not have happened like this. And they should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. All right, give me 1 second, caller. Dolly.
Hey, Dolly.
Hey.
Hey, this is Kelly from Arizona.
Hey, Kelly.
How are you?
I'm good. Not too bad.
Good. My main point was when the 911 call came out, it's like everybody's talking about how they were not shocked and like they weren't talking about the blood. Well, I had heard from that WSU mom that like when this happened, that they had called all those people over to the house and that somebody had gone into the house and seen the crime scene and they saw all the blood and came out into the front yard and passed out. And that's what they were calling on, is the person who was in the front yard that passed out, not like the actual crime scene in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why like they didn't mention like all the blood and like them being stabbed to death and everything that had happened. I think they were just calling on that person that was unconscious in the front yard.
Yeah, but that makes no sense.
What do you mean?
I mean, them not calling the authorities. Why would you call all them people over there for nothing?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know why they called all the people over there, or
because they knew
like how
they knew them people were in that house dead.
You think so?
Yeah. Hell yeah, I think so. I almost know so.
Well, wait. If you think so, though, like, what would have been the motive? Like, they were complicit in it somehow?
I don't know. My thing has always been this. I think the murders happened. They were scared. They knew they had a little bit of blow or whatever it may be in the house. They needed to get these things out of the house. And it was a matter of cleanup. You know, I mean, I don't know what they had in the house that would take that long, because if you think about it,
would take 8 hours.
Yeah, because a little bit of drugs, you can flush that right down the toilet.
Right.
Unless they had scales, unless they had packing materials, for distributing drugs. I believe they may have
like
been
8 hours. Pablo Escobar could clean out a stash house in less than that.
I know. I don't know why it took so long. That's the only reason I can give them. Right?
Yeah.
The only thing that makes sense. Anything else is even worse. I can understand you got to get rid of the drugs, but
well, and what I don't understand too is the texts that were released. Like, they were clearly scared. They knew something was happening at 4 o'clock in the morning. So, like, how do you get around that? I don't understand. Like,
how do you go to bed thinking there's a killer in the house?
Yeah, even if you're scared, like, you're not just gonna like. Okay, and like Dylan was. I think she was texting at like 2 in the morning, and then she was texting again at 4 in the morning. So like, I know I've been drunk before where I want to like just pass out to sleep. But if you're texting at 2, you're not going to wake up at 4 if you're like passing out drunk, right?
She never passed out. She was conscious. She knew what the hell was going on the whole time, and seen the person. She knew there was an intruder in the house, and did nothing.
Yeah.
And she told Bethany, and Bethany did nothing. They both did nothing to try to help their friends. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not trying to shame them because they may be victims in this, but I don't want them to be my friends.
No, I don't know how much of a victim they are, though. And I think they're going to help Bryan actually walk free, honestly, like with the discrepancies and the timeline and everything.
Yeah. I think
that's really going to help him, unfortunately.
Yeah. If I was him, I'd be pointing the finger at them. I'd be like, they were in the house. There's no blood trail outside the house. There's no blood in my car. There's no blood in. They planted that knife sheath there. I was never at that house. You need to talk to them people. And
yeah, and with Ann Taylor, like, she's so good. Like, I think he might walk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like she wins everything she goes up in there for, like in the motions, like move it, change a venue, move the cameras back. I mean, they treat him like he wins everything. All he does is win, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
do you know if it's going to be televised or not?
I'm not positive. But either way, if it's not televised, I'm gonna be there in front of the courthouse bringing what's happening live to the internet.
The whole time?
Yeah. Well, I don't know the whole time, but most of the time, yeah, I'm gonna be in Idaho. I've already got it planned for this year, so yeah, I'm gonna fly.
You need to be.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna stay on the outskirts and drive in every morning. That way, I don't have a problem with getting rooms and place to stay or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm gonna be out there. That's for sure. It's the biggest true crime case in the history of me and true crime, so I'm definitely gonna be there.
And it's such a mystery because there's so many like unknowns. Like, if they don't air it, like, there's still going to be so many things that aren't known.
Yeah, I think they're going to air it.
I hope they do.
It's already on the court TV docket. So court TV's already talking about covering it. So,
Oh, good.
so if they're covering it, it's most likely going to air.
I hope so. Because like again, there's a lot that's left unsaid, and there's a lot of speculation because they're only releasing bits and pieces, and it just leaves us to analyze it and wonder.
Yeah.
But do you remember that WSU mom that was
Yeah,
saying, like,
I
they
remember.
people
I
over
mean,
that?
a lot of people were debunking what she said too, though, that, you know, she was making things up for attention when she was coming out and saying the things she was saying. And remember the bizarre ass dude that lived across the street?
No, what was
You
that?
know, oh, he was like a weirdo dude. He almost was like a serial killer himself. He was talking about it, but he was a dude that lived across the street.
Oh wait, I do vaguely remember that. Yeah.
He was a weirdo ass dude. But yeah, I remember the WSU mom and the things she said.
But everything she's saying is actually like coming to fruition with like passing the phone around. There's a bunch of people there.
Well, she
like
was
somebody
saying
passed
that
on the front yard.
Well, she was saying that they reached out to people, and it does look like they did reach out to people. But I mean, I think that was common knowledge in early in the beginning with the 911 call. We knew that the 911 call, even early on, had came from a neighbor.
Yeah.
So
the one that said she lived to the right of them on that transcript.
Yeah. I guess they ran to a neighbor's house, but that don't make any sense. Why wouldn't you go call the police, right? Like, why would you go?
And wouldn't have Dylan had to have walked past Xana and Ethan to get out of the house?
I mean, if she ran downstairs, like, because where DM's room is in the back. Xana and Ethan's room was in the front, and there's a hallway that separates the two, and there's a bathroom to the left. Like if you go out DM's door to the left, there's a bathroom. Okay, but if you go straight, there's Ethan and Xana's room, and then there's a set of stairs that run up beside their room. So that's why Ethan was standing in the hall and seeing Bryan as he was coming down the stairs, allegedly. Okay, and then that fight.
Right, and the stairs went to Kaylee and Maddie, right?
Yeah, that went to the third floor where the golden doodle was. Remember the dogs barking?
Yeah.
So, and then if you go to the right of DM's room, you go into the living room kitchen area. And then right beside the kitchen, there's another set of stairs that leads down to the basement, they called it. But
where Bethany was.
The tri-level. It's like a tri-level. So yeah, where Bethany was. So that's the layout of the house. I still remember the layout of the house pretty good. And the girls' room was all the way up in the top right corner, because that's how come Olivia was able to videotape through her window, because it was the very front corner left. If you're looking at the house, the very left corner of the house was Maddie's room.
On the top floor.
So he would have went up the stairs and to the left and got into Maddie's room. And when he came down the stairs, Xana and Ethan's room would have been to the right, and Dylan's would have been to the left. So he killed them, walked down that hallway, walked right past Dylan, and went out the back sliding glass door. So, but
do you think he just didn't see Dylan, or like, do you think she was?
I mean, I would think if you was doing something like that, you would be hyper focused on what you're doing, especially if
you think you'd see somebody standing there, right?
Yeah, but you may not. I mean, sometimes you walk past people and don't see them, you know, jump out and scare you, you know.
Like she's in the shadows.
Or he didn't want to kill her, or she's the killer. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Oh no, it doesn't make any sense.
How do we know that them girls didn't wait for their roommates to go to sleep, walk in there and start stabbing them?
Yeah.
You know,
and especially him asking, like, did you arrest anybody else?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's where it gets into the court case. I guess that's why the court case is so important, to see what comes out that we don't know. And if they can find a way to fight that touch DNA, they are in trouble, because I would blame myself, if I was Bryan Koherger, especially seeing he's a criminology student, I'd be blaming them. All you have to do is get one person to believe that they may have done it. That's it. It only takes but one to hang the jury.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they have so many inconsistencies
I
in their
know.
story.
That's when you drag them up on stand and be like, well, why didn't you call the police? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And then you got to make that make sense. And you see there's 700, 800 people in here right now. You can't make that make sense to 800 people. How are you going to make it make sense to 12?
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, your chat's so divided, too, on, like, whether he's innocent or guilty. Like, how are you going to make that make sense to a jury?
I mean, I think a jury would act just like the chat acts. I mean, they're people just like we are. Some people will go, okay, yeah, he did it. He was in the area. He don't have an alibi. And then some people will go, well, what the hell was going on in that house where they didn't call the police or try to help these people? That don't make sense. The whole 911 call don't make sense. There's no DNA anywhere else but in that house. There's no DNA outside that house that links him to a crime. So there's none in his car. There's none in his apartment. There's none at his mama's house. And DNA is not blood. Is hard to get rid of. For every drop of blood, I learned this on like a CSI or some crime show I watched. But every drop of blood, it takes 100 drops of water to clean up one drop of blood.
Oh, wow.
So it has to be diluted by 100 times. So say you have a gallon of blood, it'd take 100 gallons of water to get it up.
Yeah.
Not to be
And that was
detected.
like, that was such a gruesome, like, bloody scene, too. Like, to not have any marks on his hands, to not have any of his blood anywhere, just that one little bit of touch DNA under the snap of a sheep.
I mean, he may have done it not faking, you know. I mean, that's what they're claiming. But to get away with the perfect crime and then not wipe that knife sheath down, or, you know, I mean, it just seems too good. It seems too good for
But
the
the perfect
detective.
crime is never the perfect crime either.
No,
Like,
yeah, there's no such thing as a perfect crime unless you're Don and Candace Wells.
yeah.
Or, you know, apparently your last name is Proud Toes. I mean, then the perfect crimes can happen, but anybody else, it usually ain't that lucky. Not me. I couldn't get away with
4
jaywalking.
people in, like, how many minutes was it? It was not even like 20 minutes, right?
I think
that he
6 minutes.
murdered.
6 minutes.
Yeah. How do you make that perfect in that amount of time with that many victims? Like,
Well, the 2 upstairs have been real easy. You know, that takes no time. If you're in there asleep, passed out, drinking, I mean, you could kill 2 people in a matter of seconds. And then the fight downstairs could have happened over a couple minutes, and then he's out the door. So, I mean, it can be done. It don't take long to unalive people.
it's so crazy.
Because you're not waiting for them to technically die. You're just injuring them enough where they will die, and then you're moving on. And look at Ted Bundy. Look how many people he killed. Remember when he went up in the nurses' home where the nurses lived, and he started bashing people in the head with logs and shit? He was killing all kind of people.
Oh, that's the worry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, it don't when you want to do damage to people, it don't take long. You can kill somebody fairly quick. One blow, that's it. You know, that's all. With the right force, that's all it takes.
That's mind-boggling. Did you hear about the other people are saying in the chat about something about the DNA, 3 people's DNA under Maddie's fingernails? Did you hear about that? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, we just went over it at the beginning of this stream, and they're saying that it's inconclusive, that it's so little of DNA and it's mixed together they can't determine who that DNA belongs to.
Okay.
But that is odd that she has multiple people's DNA under her fingernails. Either you were scratching. I mean, there's multiple ways you could get that. You could scratch somebody in a struggle. You could be having sex with somebody and dig your fingernails into their back, or, you know, something like that. Or I guess just maybe touching
But the
something.
night was spent with her and Kaylee going out to the bar, right? And then the food truck,
Mm-hmm.
and then going home. So, like, it's not like she was having sex with anyone. It's not.
I mean, how do we know that her and her friend, that some of the blood is not her girlfriend's DNA?
That's true. If it's
You know, under her
inconclusive.
nails. And I don't mean like, you know, girlfriend, like they boy, you know, girlfriend, like sexually.
No, I mean like just Kaylee, like just being around her,
Just
right?
being around her, yeah. Or, you know, hey, will you scratch my back for me? My back itches. And you scratch her back or something. And next thing you know, you got DNA under your nails.
It could be anything, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, but they're still suspicious to me. They're suspicious. I ain't saying they did it. I just saying that their story, they need to explain it, because right now it's too hard to explain of why things transpired the way they did.
Yeah.
There has to be some
If nothing
truth.
else, be in that courtroom when they testify, please.
Yeah, I mean, if they had drugs and it was, hey, we had to get rid of this and we were scared and we were going to go to jail and we did this, I'd rather hear the truth, because then I can go, yeah, he did it. And the reason y'all acted the way y'all did is because y'all were scared of going to jail. But right now it seems like you wasn't scared to go to jail. You did nothing to help. It don't make, nobody would do that. Nobody would do that. Anybody that's scared is going to call 911. They're going to reach out or get out the house. You're not going to stay in the house with a killer
And go to sleep for 8 hours.
and go to sleep. That is absolutely right. So that's mind boggling. It don't add up.
Like if you're so scared, you're not going to fall asleep.
Yeah, the math don't math. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
not at all.
Hey, I appreciate you calling.
Thanks, Dolly. Have a good one.
You too. Peace.
Bye.
Yeah, I don't think nobody can make good sense of what transpired in that house. It just, to me, it is so far beyond like what the hell is going on. Okay, like what the hell? That is insane. Like who don't reach out for help, right? Just leave your friends there to absolutely die and do nothing. Like, I'm just gonna, I don't know. Like I said, I would have picked better friends, you know. And if my kid, you know, I don't want to wish nothing bad on my kid. Let me knock on wood. I'm just saying, if my friend, you know, my daughter has friends, and if they did nothing to help her, I would hate them forever. Like I would just hate them. You know, I probably one day forgive, you know, because I'm a forgiving person. But I would hate her ass for not trying to help my child. All right, last call, guys. Dolly.
Hey, Dolly.
What's
Here from Ohio.
What's up, Eric?
Hey, remember when there was somebody heard somebody saying, "I'm here to protect you"?
Yeah.
Okay, why wasn't that ever said in a text message or the 911 call?
I don't know. We got that from the news.
Oh, is that where that was from?
Yeah, we didn't get that. That was coming from like the police and the news had put that out, that she had heard somebody. Because you got to remember, in the beginning, the police said the roommates were both asleep in the basement. They didn't see anything or hear anything at all. That's originally what the Idaho police said, that the roommates didn't hear nothing. They didn't see anything. They were both in the basement asleep. But come to find out, Dylan was in her room and she heard everything. And then not only did she hear everything, she didn't call the police. And then she continued to text her friend after Bryan was gone, allegedly, if it was Bryan, and then knew something was wrong, but still never reached out for help or anything. And then the 911 call, you can't make no sense of that. I mean, it's the bizarrest thing ever. And all I think this does is helps Bryan Koherger. It don't hurt him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I was wondering about that voice that was heard in the house.
Yeah, I remember exactly what you're talking about. She heard somebody saying, "I'll help you," and she didn't know what was going on. And then she opened the door 3 times. Remember, they said it was 3 times. The first time she went out, she peeked her head out. The second time she heard something else, she peeked her head out. And then the third time when she opened the door, Bryan Koherger came past her, dressed in all black and with bushy eyebrows, and walked past her and went out the back door. Now, if she knew he went out the back door, here's the thing. For her to get to the basement, she has to go past the back door. She didn't even lock the door. At no point did you ever hear her say after he left, she went and locked the doors. She didn't even lock the doors.
She probably ran her ass down the basement.
But what, damn, dude, I'm a man. If you was in the basement and I ran my ass down to the basement, I'm going to run down there and be like, yo, bro, call the police. There's a killer in the house. You know what I'm saying? And we're dudes. Are we going to let a killer walk around the house? Or would you arm yourself and go out and try to, at the most, I would be like, all right, give me a bat, give me something. And we would try to confront the person that's in the house.
Yeah.
You know, but to go in the room for 8 hours, and then go get somebody and go get the neighbor to call the police. Okay.
Yeah.
You're able to walk around the house, go out the house, but you go get the neighbor. That shit is bizarre. That is, I ain't saying it ain't true. I ain't saying that can't happen, because sometimes real life is crazier than a movie. But shit, that shit's that's a hard one to believe. That's a hard one to believe.
And they didn't see the blood.
No blood
in the house.
No blood, no nothing. It's leaking out the walls of the house.
Yeah.
It ain't like it's a little bit of blood. There's a whole lot of blood.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it wasn't leaking through the ceiling.
Exactly.
You know? So, all right, my man. I'm getting out of here. You be good.
All righty, Dolly. Take care.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
All right, guys. That's the last call I'm going to take tonight. I have to be at, I got cardiac rehab tomorrow. Okay. I took it yesterday, and I just shared a little Dolly story with you. Right. So I got to take lectures too as part of my cardio rehab on medicines, fitness, lifestyle changes, and what was the other one? Nutrition. So I got to take these 4 lectures. I done took one. I took the one on medicines, and it goes over all the medicines I take, what the side effects are, that type of stuff, right? Nothing too crazy. So then after that, you have to work out for an hour. So they put me on this machine where you pedal it, and you got to go like this with your arms. It's almost like a sit down, kind of like a ski. It's like a rower kind of. It kind of feels like you're rowing a boat. And I can tell you today, my arms and my shoulders are killing me. So they got me hooked to all these heart machines. Okay. And then like every 10 minutes, they'll come around and check on me. They got it hooked to a monitor. They're watching it like you're the $1 Million Man or something. And then they come over and they check you. They ask you how you're feeling. If you have any chest pains, are you okay? And they ask you how's the level of the machine. And if you go, oh, I'm okay, they up it. Okay. So now it's harder to push, right? Then they do it for another 10 minutes. And then they come back and they check on you again. And if you say, oh, it's hard, they leave it where it's at. Now I know that now. And I'm going to be like, it's hard every time they come up, right? Because they keep ramping it up. So by the time I get off this machine, so I'm on this machine, but each class, I got to do 18 of them. You're on a different machine, like a treadmill, elliptical, the rowing machine, just with lifting weights, different things, right? So there's this old ass man in there. He's just running like a gazelle. He looks like he's 80, right? I'm over there like, oh my God, this is about to kill me. I'm thinking, do y'all have a YouTuber setting? Okay, can y'all set that to YouTube? Because this shit is way too hard. All right. So I get done, and they give you this, like, you got to stretch and then take a little cool down period, and then they take your blood pressure. Okay. So I'm sitting there and it's starting to kick in. I can feel that machine, right? Like, I'm like, damn, you know, and the old man next to me, he goes, he might be my age. I don't know. I just look at him. He looks old. And he's like, how'd you like that machine? And you know how dudes are. I'm like, oh man, it won't know. And he goes, I hate that shit. He goes, I was on it and I couldn't even lift my arms the next day. That's what he tells me, right? So I was good when I got in the truck. I drove home. Then I woke up this morning. I was like, I couldn't even lift my arms up. I was like, oh my God, now I know what the old man is talking about. I can't lift my arms past my shoulders, right? I swear it hurts so bad. It's like, oh my God, right? So, and then you do it 3 times a week. So today was an off day and I'm all sore from it. Okay. So I go back tomorrow And if they try to put me on that rowing machine, oh, hell no. Oh, no, 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 no. Jesus, no. Right? I'm going to stand beside another machine as soon as I walk in. But I'm going to let them know. I'm be like, look, I can't do that. I can't. It's just, my joints. It's like all in my joints, like my elbows and my shoulders. It broke me down. I didn't realize how out of shape I was. Okay. Oh my God. I'm in YouTuber shape, which is no shape, round, fat, lazy, right? Good Lord. Right. Because I'm not a big guy. So I think I'm in shape. Right. But really, I ain't. I'm in terrible shape. I learned that the hard way. Right. I learned that the hard way. I physically look like I'm fine. Till you put me on a machine and I got to lift weights and move. And then I'm like, oh my God. So I got to go back tomorrow and pray a little baby Jesus that I make it. Okay. Oh, it sucks. It sucks. But this is what's going to help keep me alive, and I've been buying all these healthier foods. I still got a cookie craving, right? But I've been doing my math. I can have 1,500 milligrams of sodium, right? That's from the National Heart Center. Says you can have 1,500 milligrams of sodium. And so today I ate a salad. I've been drinking water, and then I've been effing up those cookies, right? I got some cookies over there, but I figured that's my 1,500 right there in them cookies. But I'm going to try to wean myself off the cookies, okay? Slowly. It's baby steps, right? Baby steps. But anyway, that's what I got going on tomorrow. I'm going to be dropping some body cam footage today. So for everybody that watched my video today of the body cam footage, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's only like 10 minutes long. It's about this weird offender, offender, and he's in a girl's locker room and he's claiming that he's a woman. Okay, so I dropped the body cam footage of that today. It's on my site. Just go to my videos and you'll see it. But I'm going to drop some more. I've been working on these different body cam videos. So make sure y'all watch the videos, support them. My lives do well, but my videos, they don't do very, y'all guys don't watch the videos. But watch the videos, like it, leave a comment. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give something away. So when you watch the video of the body cam footage, the next few that I put out, leave comments. And then I'm going to pick somebody from one of those videos and I'm going to give something awesome away to. So if you want to get in on that giveaway, make sure you watch those body cam footage, any video. Just watch the latest videos. And I'm going to pick people from the videos and do a giveaway. All right. So check it out. And I will see you guys sometime tomorrow when I get out of the doctor. Okay. When I get out of the row machine or the elliptical or whatever the hell they got my ass on tomorrow. If I make it. Okay. I may be tired, but I'll see you guys then. And remember, if nobody else loves you, Dolly does. Peace.